Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Live It Up, the show where we explore and discuss how to take your life to that next level and beyond. We cover health, wealth, relationships, and how to create a life that feels good, because after all, that's what we want. We want to feel good. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher, and my guest today is Kory Kalahar. Kory is the superintendent of the Wenatchee School District, and I first met Kory when he was the principal of Westside High School, then again when he was the president of Wenatchee Rotary, and Kory is one of those rare people who has a real servant's heart. So I'm looking forward to our visit to hear about what's going well in our school district. But before we get to that, I do want to remind you that if you have questions you would like to send to me and have me answer on or off the air, you can email those directly to me at fletcher@fletcherellingson.com. And if we use your question on the show, I'll send you a copy of my Amazon best-selling book called The Practice of Feeling Good. If you've been following this show and want to learn more about personal development and how to take on your life more powerfully, then grab a copy of this book. You can also visit me at my website, fletcherellingson.com. Now, before we get to our interview, I do want to take just a moment to acknowledge that there is a lot of uncertainty in our world. There are wars, there are protests, accusations, inflation, division, lots of uncertainty. And that level of uncertainty can set people on edge and bring out behaviors that typically don't serve those around us very well. And so I want to take a moment to remind all of us, myself included, that we can be part of the solution. And the fastest and easiest way to do that is simply to be kind. And the way I define kindness is friendliness, generosity, consideration, and the willingness to offer assistance without the need for praise or acknowledgement. You see, kindness highlights people's strengths instead of reminding them of their weakness. It unites people instead of dividing people. It heals and fosters well-being instead of injuring. And it feels good to give it, to receive it, and to be around it. Kindness is powerful. We're going to take a short commercial break, but then we're going to be right back to visit with Superintendent Kory Kalahar. Stay with us. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. So glad you're here. So glad you're in this conversation. Today on the show, we've got Kory Kalahar. Hey, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here today.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to diving into what's going well in our school districts. But before we do that, we always start off with what's going well in your life, personally, professionally. So what's a win or two you can share with us?
Gosh, great question. I would say, especially coming in after Thanksgiving weekend, a win for me is just being there and watching my kids adult well. And it's so awesome to see that. They've just grown into great humans. They're all in their 20s. I enjoy the heck out of them, and I just try to find ways to insert myself into their lives somehow, and which is always a struggle and a challenge because everyone's busy, but they're just my favorite people. So that's a personal win.
Right on. And do they live close by?
They all live in Wenatchee right now.
Nice.
So yeah, it's great. In fact, my oldest daughter just moved back from Maple Valley, and she ended up renting the place right next to my younger daughter. So it's one-stop shopping. I love it. Yeah, it's great. It's a great place to be.
Good for you. And what's going well for you professionally?
Professionally, I'd say there's a ton of wins, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later. But really, the thing that I'm most proud of right now is the way that this school year kicked off, and the way that we were able to take some challenging situations in the spring, some budget reduction challenges, and come together as a district and really do what's best for kids. I mean, we had, I think of the closure of Columbia, and we have those students that moved to Lincoln Elementary and to Washington Elementary, and just our schools, our teachers, our staff wrapping around those students and families and making that transition as smooth as possible. I couldn't be more proud of our school district for that.
Congratulations. That's great. You. I know it takes a lot of people to create a high level of workability. Yeah. It's not, a lot of times people think, what's the right decision or wrong decision, but it's more of like what creates workability.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think as we think of the challenges that we go through with the budget reduction process, and specifically this last year, we had an obligation to our students and our families to do it the right way, and I just applaud our building leadership and our staff for just wrapping around those students. And it's all about caring for people and caring for our students and making that transition as seamless as possible. We know transitions are hard, and so just been really proud of our district for doing that work.
Yeah, nicely done. So you were the principal of Westside High School for about 12 years, right?
Yeah, I was there. I was there for 10 years, and then I moved to a district office position right before I took the superintendency. Yeah, so it was some of the best 10 years of my life.
Yeah. So the roles that you've been in, they all have certain levels of influence.
Yeah.
Do you see one of those roles as having more direct or more immediate influence?
Yeah, that's a great question. And as I think about that question, I think of some of it's about perspective. I would say my role at Westside High School, as far as creating the culture of a building and creating how we want people to feel when they're in that building, that had a much more direct influence opportunity for me. Just because every day you set the stage, you come in and we know how we want the culture and the climate to be, we can do that intentionally. And so that was really powerful. Now as a superintendent, I still have a building that I influence, the district office, where we have about 50 staff members that are there, kind of the foundation of the school district as far as support. And we can really set the tone there as well. But I think the more important thing as far as influence with the superintendency is our leadership. How am I able to directly have an impact and influence our leadership, and then our leadership takes that to the buildings, and then they take that to their specific departments, and that's when you can impact the culture positively. And over time, it takes time, especially when there's been some leadership changes at the executive level in the Wenatchee School District. But all of those things are just a huge opportunity, not only to impact the way that students enter a building each and every day and the way the staff interact, but also when you think of our entire system. And that's really been, my career has been just a process of opportunities that have come my way to influence, support, and create hope.
I love that.
Yeah.
Especially I love that last one. Yeah, create hope. Hope is a powerful concept, and we need it.
Absolutely.
Right?
I think it's what keeps us going.
Yeah,
the hope that things will get better, or there's a goal that we're trying to reach.
Yeah, when people feel hopeless, things start to spiral quickly, right?
Right.
Yeah, great. So I'm curious, is this a position that you've had your eye on? Were you aspiring to it, or tell me a little bit about that?
That's a great question, Fletcher. Where do I even start here? I love learning. I love going to school, and I think my goal when I was young was to be a teacher in the Wenatchee School District and inspire my students to love English language arts and social studies, just like my teachers did when I was, sophomore and junior in high school. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm learning so much and I love learning. So I really, at a young age, I just wanted to teach. And then once I started teaching, I wanted to continue my education, which was powerful. So I just started, like my second year of teaching, I just went back to school. I started working on my master's degree. I finished that, and I thought, what else can I do? What's next? And so I started working on my principal certification. I finished that, and there's an opportunity for me to become an assistant principal at Wenatchee High School where I was teaching. And then I said, well, I'll keep on going. So then I went into superintendent's classes, which was also a doctoral program. And along the way, I have to give a shout out. I don't know if you've ever had Dr. Gene Sherrod on your show.
I'm a huge fan of Gene.
Okay. Well, Dr. Gene Sherrod is the reason that I am where I am today, because he was the one that helped me with my master's degree. He's the one that encouraged me in my principal certification. And then once I got a principal job, he said, you should work on your doctorate. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Gene, you're killing me here. But at the same time, he was pushing me to be the best version of myself, and he knew where he wanted me to be in life. I just have to give the credit and the kudos to him, but I loved learning. And so to go back to your original question, I did have aspirations at the time when I was doing the learning. I said, you know what, I would love to be a principal someday, but I'm loving teaching. And then an opportunity came my way as soon as I finished my principal certification program, and I had to take it, right? Same thing, I finished my doctorate and my superintendent's credentials in 2011, and the idea there was, okay, that was great. I've done the schooling that I need to do. I kind of feel like I've satisfied my thirst for learning, which I realized after that you never satisfy that thirst. And so then I just said, you know what, if there's a time and a space in the Wenatchee School District where my leadership skills, servant leadership, hope and optimism is needed in our system, I'm going to throw myself in. But if I'm not, I'm loving what I do at Westside High School. So it was kind of like, I wanted to have it in the back of my head, and I also wanted to have it on my resume in case there was ever a need. And I really felt like there were times in our district where it wasn't needed, and we had great leadership, and then just this opportunity kind of came about at the right time, at the right place. And so I'm just thankful and grateful to have the privilege of serving this way.
Yeah, that's great. And
Sorry, long answer.
No,
Sorry.
it's okay. And you were perfectly poised, right? You were perfectly
absolutely.
poised for what was next.
Absolutely.
And that's always fun to be perfectly poised, right?
Yes. I don't know if I was, it's one of those things where I feel like I was perfectly poised at the same time, but you never we never have enough confidence in ourselves to say, like, I'm ready to do the job. You just have to take that leap of faith, and then the people around you, the Dr. Gene Sherritts of the world, that are scaffolding and supporting you up and saying, oh, you got this. And that's how we do it.
Yeah.
We have to surround ourselves with our people.
Yeah, that's great. Great message. Yeah, you have to bring an element of team, right?
Absolutely.
I think that one saying, you probably heard it, I think it's maybe an African saying, I think it's the last one I saw, was that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, bring a tribe or bring a team, right?
100%.
Yeah.
And I think about that team, and I couldn't do this work without my family as well. Because when I was going to throw my hat in the ring, I really had to get permission from my entire family. It's like, this is going to be probably the most challenging work that I've ever done as an individual. And unanimously, everyone was like, no, Dad, you have to do this. Or my wife, Haley, and she's just like, I know I'm not going to see you as much, and that is okay, because this is the work that needs to be done. It's just really powerful to have that support behind me every day.
Yeah.
When you get up to do the work, and you're like, let's go.
Yeah, right on, right on. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, so stay with us. We have more quality conversation here with Kory. We're going to talk more about what's going well in our school district, so we'll be right back. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. So glad you're here, so glad you're in the conversation. We're having a great conversation today with Kory Kalahar. We're talking about the Wenatchee School District, and specifically, I want to hear what's going well, because so often we hear about what's not going well.
Yeah.
Right? So what are some things you're excited about?
Gosh, there are so many things. I think I just drew a quick blank when you asked me the question, but there are so many things that are going well in our school district right now. I think we just closed fall sports and athletics, and we had girls soccer, we had girls volleyball, girls swim and dive, and who am I missing here? Girls cross country all went to state.
Wow.
So that's fantastic. And I think about the student experience. Like, that is what our community wants to know about. That's what our community wants to support. And that, as educators, is what it's all about. Like, the student experience, what happens every single day in our classrooms. We have strong academic programs that are grade level based and aligned to the standards. So I think of what's happening in our classrooms is absolutely huge and amazing. But what's happening outside of the classroom is also huge. I don't know if you had a chance. We just had our all-district musical, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, neat.
It was an amazing production. There was 150 school district students that were involved in that production.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a huge amount, yeah.
There were Oompa Loompas everywhere.
Right.
It was pretty cool. And all grades, like second grade through seniors in high school. So they're all together.
So valuable.
It was beautiful. And it was student-led. We had a student-led direction team. We also had some adults, obviously, there for direction and choreography, but stage was covered with students, and all the work behind the scenes were led by students who are being mentored in these roles. And so it's just really powerful. And then I just think of, we've got a softball complex that we're almost done with out at Triangle Park. So that has been really powerful, and we're excited to kick off our girls softball team. Slow Pitch got to play 3 games in it this fall, and then we're finishing up some things, and we'll obtain occupancy very soon. And then we're going to have a celebration in the spring when Fast Pitch starts. So,
nice. Gosh,
there's just a ton of things, and going well. I just think about that student experience, and just very excited about everything that's happening.
Yeah, that's so good to hear. And We just went to our sports banquet out in Manson. It's wild. You guys went to state. Chelan went to state.
Yes.
Manson went to state. I mean, it's just what a year it's been.
Yeah.
But at this banquet, sports banquet, I really got to see, so much vulnerability.
Oh yeah.
From not only the players but the coaches. They were talking about the students and and just witnessing the growth and the coaches growing and just everyone was affected. It was very emotional. I was very surprised, but it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And then our daughter said, because I said, wow, that was really a moving experience. She said, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I do what I do, why I'm involved with this, because there's so much connection.
Yeah.
So beautiful. And the same thing for that play. Theater really allows for this team sport, if you will.
Yeah.
Right. It's this all these people coming together with all their skills and growing to produce this outcome, right?
Yeah.
And everyone's needed to do it.
It's so true. And I want to just put a plug in because you've set the stage so perfectly. Everything that we're talking about with that student experience, athletics, drama, theater, clubs, extracurricular, all those things are levy funded. They are all driven by the levy. The state does not provide dollars for that, and so and we're not to get political or anything, but we are going out for a levy in 2025, and it's very important for our community to know and understand that student experience is driven by the levy, which is great. And we already have we have a levy on the books. We we put it on the ballot in 2021, and so this is a replacement levy. So we're just going to be replacing the dollars that the community already supports and invests in our community, and it really does provide that whole student experience that creates all those connections.
Well, you know what?
It's amazing.
I have to admit, I don't think I realized that.
Oh, okay.
So that's how it was all funded.
Oh, well, I'm glad we had the conversation because it's powerful.
Yeah, so thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, 12% of our entire budget is from the levy, and it all goes for, I can just see the list right now, music, drama, arts, extracurricular, clubs, high cap, AVID, AP classes. And then it helps, really the levy supports anything that goes beyond what the state funds as basic education.
Oh, okay.
And basic education is basic.
Got it.
So when we talk about positions, like I think basic education covers 14 custodians, levy helps us get up to 30. Basic education covers 1 safety and security person in our district, levy helps us get up to 5, including our SROs.
Wow.
And then you think of 137 coaches in our school district, all levy funded because no athletic piece. I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. So those levies are very important. So
I'm glad we're having this conversation because I've been completely ignorant on that matter. I did not know that. I'm
glad we chatted. That's awesome.
That's mind blowing.
Yeah, it is mind blowing, and I think a lot of our public. Well, first of all, I think our public struggles with what's a levy and what's a bond. Levies are for learning, is what we like to say, and bonds are for building.
Got it.
And we are not building right now in the Wenatchee School District, but we are trying to preserve the experience of our students, and so that's where this levy comes in.
I love that distinction too. Levies are for learning, bonds are for building.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. I'm learning so much today.
Well, I love it. Well, I'm just having a great time chatting with you, Fletcher, thank you.
Well, that's cool. And I just want to say one more thing about all those sports and theater. The teachers, the instructors that we have who are leading all that, I mean, outstanding.
From the heart.
Yeah, I mean,
it's from the heart.
They put in so much time and effort.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is impressive. So
It is. Their passion really drives the work they do, and you can see the love that's there, not only for the work, for the learning, but for the students as well. It's powerful.
Yeah, good.
It makes you realize why we're doing what we're doing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, you deal with challenges day in, day out, complaints and struggles and frustrations. So what gives you hope?
There's lots that give me hope, and I think I've often said this, like I feel like I'm an optimist to a fault sometimes. I'm like, oh my gosh, but I'm a very optimistic guy. I'm usually pretty happy, but when it comes to the work that I do, it's an opportunity. Every single day we have an opportunity to impact and shape young people's lives. That's a huge responsibility, my friend, as you know, and we can't take it lightly, and it's such a privilege, and that's kind of what sets and grounds me each and every day. It's like we get to work with these amazing young people. And our families, they send us their most precious commodity in life, their kids.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's where that responsibility, kind of comes to a head, is we have to take this seriously, and we get to do this. And you've worked with kids in your professional life, and there's no greater reward than working with young people. And I'm reminded of that. I spent a little bit of time the other day with our AP Environmental Science class. In fact, it was Tuesday, my week. I'm like, okay. Yeah, I spent some time with them on Tuesday, and they presented the work that they're doing in their classroom. And it was all about conservation and energy savings and how the school district can impact that. And it was just so fun. I had the greatest hour with these amazing young people, and it helps remind me, because I'm a little bit removed from that, so
Sure.
I have to work to create these opportunities where I can work with the students, and it just helps guide me and hone in my perspective. So it's an opportunity and a responsibility, and that gives me hope.
Yeah, nice.
I love
it. Just real quick, do you have any daily structure that helps you kind of maintain that, optimistic and positive mindset?
I do. I have we have 3 dogs, so we have lots of fur babies in our house. One of them is a husky, and then I have a lab. And my husky, he's 8 now, so he's older, but he's needed, in his early years, he needed 2 runs a day. And so that was my job. And so now we're down to 1 run, and I would almost say it's almost a jog now. I'm like, come on, let's go. I'm dragging him a little bit along. But every morning, 365 days a year, unless I'm out of town or something, I get up with those 2, and and we run each and every day. And I love being outside. I love nature, and just now it's dark when we're out there running, and it's just fine. It's like Christmas lights are out. There's this positive feeling, but each and every day that sets my day.
Yeah.
There's some days I'm like, really? It's pouring rain. I don't know if I want to do this. Very rare, but that really helps set my tone. And then just being reconnecting as much as I can, and just being outside as much as I can. If it's standing by a bonfire when it's chilly out, or if it's taking a hike in the summertime, just like. That's why we live in this area too, is we can just get out and do things no matter what the season. So that helps me each and every day kind of set that positive perspective.
Right on. And how about reading? Are you reading anything these days?
I am reading, so 2 things. The Anxious Generation, I'm reading right now. Are you familiar with that from Jonathan Haidt? It is about, there's a chapter in here called The Great Rewiring. It's about when smartphones have transformed our youth. And so it's a really interesting read. We're studying cell phone policies in the Wenatchee School District, and so that was a recommendation that I had for our board policy committee, is let's read this book called The Anxious Generation, and familiarize ourselves with what living in the digital age. There used to be digital natives and digital immigrants. All of our young people are digital immigrants, are digital natives now, right? Because they just grow up with that. So it's just been an interesting perspective opener. And then the other one, Deep Kindness by Houston Kraft.
Oh, cool.
That is a great book.
Right
Houston Kraft is co-founder of a company called Character Strong. And the other, and then his partner is from Wenatchee as well. So I've anyway, it's just been a great read, and something that's right along with the way that you feel about life too.
Yeah, right.
Deep Kindness.
Right on. I'll check it out.
Okay.
Okay, we got to run. Kory, thank you so much for your time and all the wonderful work you're doing in our community.
Well, I appreciate the time. Thanks, Fletcher.
And now it's time for you to get out there. Be a source of kindness. Be a source of contribution. You do have something to offer this world, and I believe in you.